Welcome back to the Today with Tally podcast, folks. We have a great show in store for you today. We sit down with a U.S. Marine combat veteran, a Miami, Florida native, and a 2023 recipient of the Alaska Adventure Project. We talk to him next, but first.
Hello, friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of Today with Tally. The mission and goal of this podcast is to bring an engaging conversation that will add value to the lives of everyday people. We will inspire, encourage, educate, and tell the stories of America's finest men and women in an effort to motivate you to live your life to its fullest potential. Be sure to follow us on social media and search Today with Tally. Be sure to subscribe, follow, and share the program as well. Ladies and gentlemen, your host of the evening, Mr. Brian Tally.
Our next guest is a extremely interesting man. I got to meet this outstanding individual out in Alaska about a month ago or so. We're doing today's going to be a recap day on what Frank went through and what he experienced out there in Alaska as a bunch of veterans went out there for a week of tranquility and healing. But Frank, like I had mentioned before, is a native of Miami, Florida. He's a U.S. Marine combat veteran, and he also plays hockey. He plays hockey as well as he dabbles in comic books, and he dabbles in comic books as well as action figures. He's got a little side gig too that he does, and we're going to talk to him about that now. And with that, we're honored to be joined by Frank. He goes by Nacho Cortes. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm good, buddy. How are you, so?
Good. Sorry about that delay there. I was like, wait, it's action figures, right?
Yes, action figures.
What got you into comic books and action figures?
I mean, it was just when I was little. I remember going to like Walgreens and all that when they used to have the comic book racks, and I'll just grab a comic book, and it just caught my eye. And then there used to be where I lived in a condominium. There used to be a comic store called Fresh Comics, and me and my friends would go there all the time. Walk like through all these like pretty much like sawgrass area. Who knows what was living in there just to get into these warehouses. And there was a shop, and it was always my thing. My buddies just called me comic freak when I was little, so it was always something I loved and enjoyed.
Yeah, and you're from Miami, right?
Yes, yeah, born and raised.
Yeah, yeah. How many generations you been in Miami?
I'm first generation for my family. They came from Chile like sometime in like the early 70s when they were escaping the Pinochet regime, and they came to Miami. And about like 6, 7 years later, I came out.
Incredible. Now,
Yeah.
Chile. I don't meet too many folks from Chile. I didn't know that about you. I thought
Yeah.
for some reason I thought you were from. You had
People think Cuba.
or Cuba. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
usually when people think, "Oh, you're from Miami," "Oh, you're Cuban."
And another interesting thing, I think that's awesome that your folks came here and they did it the right way. They came from Chile, and then their son would end up being an American patriot, a U.S. Marine combat veteran. What inspired you, Nacho, to join the United States Marine Corps out of high school?
It was definitely like out of all my group of friends, we had one. He was the first one to go in. His name is Albert Ben Cosme. He was the first one to join, and then I just remember when he came back from boot camp, just like seeing him and pretty much the person that he changed into. And pretty much towards the end of when I was like finishing high school, I had no really direct path of what I was gonna do. I really didn't know what I was doing, so I was just like, you know what, he did that. He's doing pretty well for himself. I'm just gonna join too and see where that goes.
What stood out to you? Was it the strength? Was it the confidence? Was it
Yeah.
the way he
It's
held
definitely yeah. It's pretty much how he like held himself. It was different. Like there was a lot more confidence coming out of him. He was so assured of himself. Just pretty much just the stature. I mean, he was always a big, tall Dominican guy, but just seeing him more difference. Like, damn, it's someone you want to emulate. He was always a great person too. So
Did he come back jacked too?
no,
Or
yeah,
was he already jacked going in?
yeah. No, I mean he wasn't big to begin with, but like most of us, when we leave boot camp, we all come back a lot more skinnier. All that food rationing, you don't eat enough, especially with all the calories you're burning over there. So you definitely come
Yeah.
back a lot skinnier.
Yeah. There's no way I can fit into my alphas right now. I'd be popping buttons,
Oh no, I barely
buckles.
did for my barely fit in my blues for my wedding. I think it was like what
Yeah.
12, 13 years ago. Yeah, it was a little tight. I had to suck it in a little.
Well, 12 or 13 years. Yeah, I get, I'm at 25 now, so I can imagine. I'm
Yeah.
trying to lose, but I've been on this weight loss train for
Mm,
4 years now. So my goal is to get back into those suckers one day. We'll see.
yeah, yeah. That's definitely a great goal.
Yes, sir. Nacho, you would find yourself in Iraq in 2004.
Yeah.
Do you have any experiences that stand out to you that you would like to share with us today?
Um, I mean, just being in that country itself was life changing. Obviously, um, one of the biggest things that stands out is when our brother Caleb Powers, when he was KIA'd on August 17th, 2004. That's definitely the largest like life changing event ever. To see someone, you know, because when he came in, he was my junior Marine, and you pretty much saw him, fresh out of SOI. They came to the fleet. We did do one deployment before going to Iraq. We deployed to Okinawa, and me and him got pretty close. We were diving a lot together. Me and him got our dive master's license together while we were in Okinawa for like I think it was about 11 months, and then only to deploy to Ramadi, and then yeah, he got hit by a sniper. That was pretty tough. You know, it's definitely one of the things that comes back a lot. And and then other things, just seeing like just bodies of people. It was definitely life changing.
Of course. And I'm very sorry to hear about your brother. August
And
17th is a date that you hold near and dear to you,
oh yeah.
as you lost a brother that day. Have you kept in contact with his family?
Yeah, his sister actually, she lives like a few hours north of me. She used to be closer, and then we hung out every now and then. Um, but yeah, she's one that her name is Rosanna Powers. She was a Marine too, and like her story is like just as crazy because I kind of mix them up sometimes, but like pretty much the day she found out that her brother was killed, I, I'm trying to remember. I'm not sure if it's the day before or after her fiance was killed, and she was pregnant at the time. So, and yeah, she had a son, Brody. We met him also. He's come to like two reunions now, and yeah, he's a great kid. So we kind of try to be there for them, stay in contact, and also for next year, since it's the 20th anniversary of his death, his family up in Washington are also having like a little memorial event for him, for Caleb.
Hmm. Can't believe it's been that long.
Oh yeah, yeah, time flies. Because when I heard it was like 20 years, like Jesus, like where does time go?
So sad. The great men and women of our country, so many have been lost, and uh,
Yeah,
that's one thing I never do is forget. I always, have remembrance and memorials and, reflections as we're doing right now to
oh
keep
yeah.
their memories alive, the way that they
Mhm.
they deserve to be remembered. Um, losing a brother in combat and seeing the things that you've seen in combat, um, how has this changed the way you lived now? Has it changed the way you think?
Um,
Has it changed the way you act?
um, I know it did in the beginning, especially when I got out. Well, even like before I was getting out of the military, was kind of going through like a destructive path of just drinking and just partying and not really caring about my livelihood or anything like that. Sometimes you kind of hold back just to let people believe that nothing's wrong with you, but at the same time, you still go and do some, you know, stupid things like drinking too much, getting into fights, drinking and driving, not caring. And, pretty much in the beginning, because, you know, afterwards, obviously I got help, but they were like tracing it back to, like, was it survivor's guilt? You know, why not me? All that. And but as time progressed, yeah, I've hit rock bottom sometimes. Luckily, my wife, she's a great, supporter, and she put up, with my stuff. But she actually encouraged me to get more help than I need, and that's helped me to become better and to actually appreciate things more, especially like my life and just to live my life and just enjoy the things of life and try to help others too. Our people that I've served with, we have like a huge group messenger. We're always available to all of them all the time. No matter what, I've gotten phone calls, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and as much as like, oh my God, like you still pick up, like, what's going on, man? Like, are you okay? What's up? And yeah, just seeking help, and then finding other avenues to release. Like hockey, doing the Alaskan Adventure Project also helped out. Just adding more tools into the toolbox for whenever you need it, so you can keep going.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's very important. What you just mentioned in playing hockey on this disabled veterans hockey program down there in Florida, an outlet. It's a place
Mm,
where you can go hang out with other like-minded individuals, sharing that camaraderie, play a game, and
right.
you know get things off your chest that they're building up, or perhaps help others out there that may be struggling at certain times, certain days, certain dates that do come up, or news. Something happens in the news and it brings back a memory or a smell or a sight or a sound, whatever it may be. And I think that's a very
Mhm.
healthy way to go out and cope as well, because
Oh yeah.
you know traumatic type situations and living with grief, it's very hard. It's
Hmm.
very heavy. It's very heavy
Oh
to
yeah.
carry on your shoulders.
Oh
So
yeah. That definitely is. Yeah, and sitting around and doing nothing doesn't make it any better. So, especially if you're just sitting around doing nothing and just drinking. You know.
so when you were going through this survivor's guilt and this depression, when
Mhm.
you were drinking a lot, you went to that outlet to basically make you numb. Now, when you did that, were you self-isolating a lot? Did you just want to turn
Yeah.
life off around you?
Yeah, I would sit in my room by myself and just drink a whole case until I was ready to pass out and just go to sleep and wake up the next day and keep on going.
Hmm. But
Definitely they don't want to interact with nobody, so just want to be there with my own thoughts, which really is not that good.
and now you've overcome that. I mean, you're happily married now.
Mhm. Yeah,
Do
I
you have,
mean, not to say I don't have my moments.
Mhm.
They come back every now and then. There's always moments of weakness where I might take the drinking a little too far, and then something might come out. It does happen, but uh, luckily, like my wife just helps me like progress forward. You
Mhm.
know, we do talk about it. Look, this is what happened. Blah blah blah. We discuss it. We don't shut it down, and I learn from my mistakes and just keep pushing forward.
Sure. Other than hockey in your hobby and comic books and action figures that you sell, um, do you have other outlets, other hobbies that you fall back on if you're ever having one of those days that are just, things aren't going well and you're feeling down and out? Is there something else that you can resort to get to feeling better?
Yeah, I mean, I always have my wife, she's always here to support me. And, let's say if for some reason she's not available, I always have like all my brothers I can always call. I can give any of them a call. Just like John Hancock, who you interviewed a few days ago, like him, I can call him. He can call me anytime. I got my service dog Loki. He's another tool in my toolbox that helps me out. Two cats, they're kind of service, I guess. But they kind of feel when I'm getting stressed out. They kind of know when they start surrounding me and
Mhm.
make me feel better.
Animals are amazing. They
Yeah,
are
they are.
definitely there for emotional support.
Mhm.
I don't know what I'd
Oh,
do
yeah.
without my dogs.
Yeah, we're like Letty at the trip.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Man, I didn't know you had a service dog. That would have been cool to have two
Yeah,
out there.
yeah, but he's a Great Dane, so it's a little difficult traveling with him.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. Especially if you flew Frontier or something, right? There's
Yeah, well, it was Alaska Air. I know that one flight from Seattle to Ketchikan was a little tight.
Mhm. Absolutely. So let's talk about that.
Mhm.
You are a 2023 recipient of the Alaska Adventure Project. It's where we met.
Yeah.
And really, when we got off the plane there, when we landed at the Babe Islands Lodge there, you and I were the first ones to go on a boat together, and we were
Yep.
snagging salmon. Now,
Yeah.
I had never done that before. I don't think you had
Same.
done it either. Dude,
No.
dude, explain what we were seeing, doing. It literally felt like we
Yeah.
were living in a dream.
Yeah. I know I tell people all the time, like, the first experience of just snagging salmon, and I just remember, yeah, it was just me and you on the boat with, I trying to remember the captain's name, and I can't remember right now, but,
Steve.
Steve, yes,
Mhm.
and, yeah, we're just pulling into, this water area and just salmon just jumping everywhere, and, like, what like, man, there's, like, so much fish in there, and you just look in the water and just fish everywhere, and then because I'm used to when we fish out here, you have bait. You hook something and you throw it out there. They're like, no, no, just put a triple hook and just throw it out there and just snag them up. Like, what? All right, and man, it works because we were pulling them in like crazy.
Dude, it was like a video game.
Yeah,
It was like a video game.
yeah,
You put a treble hook out there and you cast and you reel in literally, like they are doing what they just want to jump on the treble. There's just so
yeah,
many of them that you're just snagging. It's all it is.
yep,
And then of course, we're
exactly.
using it all as bait at the end of the day. But
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it would have been good enough for me. I would have eaten it.
dude, yeah,
Yeah,
Steve's laughing at us like, man, these guys are so like,
yeah,
they're so giddy, and I'm like, well, dude,
yeah.
I've never even caught a salmon, let alone I've got
No,
40 of these on deck right now, and we're like
yeah,
blood
yeah,
splattered. Like,
exactly. I've
dude,
only ever seen it on TV.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
like unreal. And then like seeing like literally like millions of them in these schools, and they're all
Hmm.
like this big,
Yep.
and it's like,
Oh,
holy
huge.
cow.
They were shift. All right, just move the boat. Oh, there they are. Okay, keep throwing them again. Like, man, it was just nonstop, and everybody, like all the boats. I just remember everybody just pulling them up, pulling them out, pulling them out. It's like, man,
Yeah, it's
we caught
insane.
so much.
The life cycle of a salmon is insane. They're born in fresh
Mm,
water. They find their way to the salt water. They go out and live a life for 4 to 5 years. They come back, they spawn
mhm.
and die.
Yeah, that's it.
It's an incredible, but they go home, and so that's why
Yeah,
they go try to find that fresh water and they do whatever they can to try to go. It's
yeah.
incredible. It really is. I know I learned so much just being out there in Alaska,
Oh
and
yeah.
uh, the last frontier is no joke. And when they say that,
No.
folks, they mean that.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
talking desolate areas that have not even like
Yeah.
been
Like
been
untouched.
yeah, like untouched. Yeah, yeah, like have there been steps here before? Have people walked this before?
Mhm.
Have people fished where we were? It's just yeah, it's
Yeah.
out of it's out of this world. Now, what was your your finest moment, your finest experience on this Alaska adventure project?
The one that keeps coming to mind is when we went diving for scallops. When we went like free diving, that was so much fun. It's definitely not what I thought what it was gonna be, but it was so much better than what I thought. And man, it was so much fun. Just going out there with just a crowbar, and you're just going down, just wrenching on these things to come out and come out. What I mean, you saw these things are beautiful.
Mm. I couldn't believe how good they were. I mean,
Yeah.
dude, it was like filet mignon.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's my first time ever having scallops, so unfortunately, I put the bar a little too high. So when I start having scallops around here, I'm like, nah, it's not the same.
You're done, dude. I have never seen them that big. Like when I go out, some seafood or whatever, and they'll have
Mhm.
be a steak and some scallops, and they're
Yep,
like that big.
yep. My
I mean,
wife gets them
they're
all the
tiny.
time.
Yeah, they're tiny, and now the scallops that we got are like that big,
Yep,
and
they're
and
huge.
and they're just smooth as silk, man. Like you barely
Oh
even
yeah.
got to chew on them. It's like a
No.
filet mignon of the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Especially the way they cook them.
oh yeah, I mean, yeah, the people that we had cooking for us, I mean, 5-star all the way around. They know how to prepare some food and cook fish to perfection. I mean,
Oh yeah.
anything. And it's kind of an awesome world out there that they actually really do live. Like to go out there and harvest your own food, come back and eat it that same day within hours of catching it, or like the shrimp. We'd
Oh
set
yeah.
those shrimp pots
Yeah.
and literally come back and eat shrimp within 2 hours. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, fresh. And then you
As
come
fresh
back
as it
here.
gets, man.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the problem about being there. Like I remember on the boat, we were on the boat when we had first gotten there. We had all them salmon in there, and
Mhm.
and we're just patrolling, right? We're just going back and we're just looking around. I was just mesmerized, and I'm like, man, I really need to start reevaluating my life choices. Like, why haven't I ever been here to Alaska, and why don't I live here in
Right?
Alaska?
Yeah, for real. Yeah, we actually booked a cruise for the wife and I for 2025 to Alaska.
No, are you going to be stopping in Ketchikan there
Yeah.
at that
Mhm.
little port?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's one of the
Holy!
stops. So
So Alaska's sincerely changed your life.
oh yeah, for sure. I
It
was like,
changed mine too.
you know, I talked about it to her like so much. She was like, "Oh my god, I gotta go." I goes, "You know what?" Went on the computer, started looking at cruises. Like it's gonna be the best thing. We deposit now, pay it off in by December 2024, and we got the balcony. We splurge. Like, let's do it. You're gonna love it.
Alaska, baby. Look at that
Yeah,
hat.
hell yeah. There you go.
So, where else are you going to be going when you're out there on that cruise?
um, I have to look at the itinerary. I know. I think Juneau for some reason. It's like 6 stops. I gotta look it up, but I know there's like 6 stops there, and then we finish off at British Columbia, and then we fly back to Miami.
Incredible. Yeah, it made spending a week in Alaska where we did with the camaraderie and just hanging out with awesome people and seeing what we saw with our own eyes and all the deep sea fishing and seeing orcas and
Uh,
porpoises and all these awesome fish and all these boat rides. It made Houston. It made it really
mhm.
hard coming back to Houston. I tell you that.
Oh yeah, it did. It definitely didn't.
So what I wrote down here on the bottom here, it says there's no place like Ketchikan, Alaska, or really it should say there's no place like Babe Islands Lodge where we were at that very few people have ever really been to. Folks,
Yep.
this is a floating station, if you will, that
Yeah.
has like 4 cabins on it in a mess hall. I mean,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. When I
And
tell people like this thing floated, they're like, "What do you mean it floats?" I'm like, "It's
yeah,
on logs. It just floats, and it's
right.
tied to like to the close to one of the islands, and that's what it does. It goes up and down with the tide."
Yeah, and you don't feel it move. I talked
No.
to Steve about this engineering aspect on how this
Hmm.
works. They don't have anything on the land. It's all right there in the little cove. They back
Hmm.
to land, but it's all on the ocean.
Yep.
And, and that tidal dropped 20 feet, 20,
Yeah.
22, 23 feet every single day, man. The gravitational pull is very strong. I mean, it's insane, and you don't feel it when it's going up and down. And those logs that this lodge is sitting on are 6 to 7 feet in diameter.
Oh yeah, those things are huge.
Hmm. And
But
the
yeah,
sea life and all that underneath it, just right there in front of our face, it was incredible. The jellyfish, all the
mm,
sea cucumbers, and I mean, it was just, I mean, again, it was like you're living in a dream.
yeah, when we're cleaning the shrimp, that we'll throw the rest out on the water. You all of a sudden just see all the life come up eating everything. It was
Oh
like,
yeah,
man, we had so much underneath us that was going on.
yeah. Not to mention orcas just
Yeah,
chilling in that little
so
cove that
close.
we were in there. Yeah, it's like, one morning I got up super early. I think it was about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm sitting out there
Hmm.
with I think it was Kenny, and all of a sudden I hear this shotgun,
Hmm.
and I'm like, I didn't think anybody else was out here, and why did I just hear a shotgun at 5:30? Steve's like, oh, those are the orcas. And all of a sudden, I see all these dorsals come up, and there was a pod of like 8 to 9 orcas that
Wow.
were swimming along the bank. And I mean, and like the crazy thing about Alaska is that like you got land, and then it just drops down to like 200 feet deep in that little cove. So you
Hmm.
have orcas
Yeah.
in there, and I'm like, what are they doing? He's like, well, they're hunting for seals. Like they'll have seals just like right there on the edge, on high tide is when they're coming
Hmm.
through and they're hunting and they're trying to be quiet, and and they'll just reach up, snatch them, and bring them in, and
Food.
breakfast, right?
Yeah, I missed that one, but I did catch them when we did the kayaking that we came back. We kind of missed them towards the end. By the time I saw them, I saw the dorsal fin. I couldn't get my camera on in time. Well, at least I ended up getting to see them. I didn't see the that one that you saw though. That would have been nice just to hear that shotgun blast when they're blowing out the air.
Did you get a copy of the video that I took of that one day?
Yeah, yeah, I did.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because that was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. Still,
Oh yeah,
dude, the only time I've seen those suckers in real life with my own eyes is at SeaWorld.
yeah, same.
But I tell you what, man, this was not SeaWorld, man. This was like real life. Like you go swimming with those guys like you did.
Yeah,
Literally, when you
exactly.
jump in that cold water. I mean, dude, Nacho, but I tell you what, man, you are a brave man. I tell you that right
Yeah,
now, to go out there and do what
yeah,
you did and brave those elements of that cold Alaskan water. That's right, folks.
yeah,
Nacho here thought he was a freaking whale because he jumped in that cold water and he was like, "Yeah, what's up?"
yeah. Me and Tom, we jumped in. I was like, you know what? Who knows? I'm gonna be back here, so I'm gonna do it once in a lifetime.
Yeah, and that guy, I don't know how many back surgeries that guy had, and he was doing like
Yeah,
backflips off the boat into that
yeah,
water. I was like,
yeah. Yeah, he did that. He's like, "Oh, do a backflip." I was like, "No, I'm not gonna be in that in one of those memes that I backflip when I hit my head on the boat. Nah, I'm
ooh,
jumping forward. I'm not doing that."
yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, I think he's done this before. I think he's a professional at that because
Yeah, he
that
made
was,
it
I
look
mean,
easy.
I gave him a 10. I mean, that was like Olympic style stuff right there
Yeah,
that we
yeah, yeah. He made it look too easy. It kind of like almost gave me some courage, but I was like, "Nah, you know what? I know myself.
yeah.
Nope."
Oh man, that's hilarious. Hey,
Yeah.
Nacho, let's pause just a quick
Mhm.
30 seconds here. I got to give a shout out to today's show sponsor, our great friends out at the Joyride Center, based in Magnolia, Texas. Now, the Joyride is now providing equine therapy services to veterans and first responders to help treat post traumatic stress and life challenges to those in need. Now, the new program being offered is called Operation Equine. Joyride serves veterans and first responders through unmounted activities between horses and humans. aimed at rebuilding critical life skills such as reduced anxiety, confidence, improved self awareness, and communication. This program is focused on the needs of veterans and first responders. The connectivity between a human and a horse is extremely powerful as they feel and recognize human emotions and feelings. And folks, I did it. I've been through the program, and that is exactly right. If you go in there and you're in a bad mood and you've got that negative energy, the horse is going to know it. If you go in there and your heart is open and you are ready to receive what you can get, the therapy that you can receive from that horse will know. And by the way that you will have that interaction with that equine is something special, and it's something that you really can't explain unless you are doing it in person, hands on the horse, and again feeling that energy flow through both you and the animal. Now, Joyride is also offering drop-in services now for veterans and first responders that can't come every week. We've got kids, we've got sporting events, we've got work, we've got college, whatever it may be. If you can't do the whole program, you can drop in now. You can drop in for a session on Mondays from 6 to 7, or you can drop in Fridays from 7 to 8. All you got to do is contact Regina via email. It's right there on your screen, veteran@joyridecenter.org. That's veteran@joyridecenter.org. Check out Joyride Center online today at joyridecenter.org. That's joyridecenter.org. To learn more, call today 281-356-5900. Get on the schedule and get to feeling better through equine therapy. Folks, we are back with Nacho, a U.S. Marine combat veteran. We're just kind of talking about life and about what we did out there in Alaska together when I met this awesome guy. I mean, I tell you what, guys, I mean, Nacho is a one-of-a-kind guy, very, very down-to-earth, good-hearted man. And I tell you what, some of the words that I take away from that trip that we did are right here: tranquility, peaceful, relax, heal, fellowship, camaraderie, adventure, journey, bonds, new relationships, build a network, reinvent, learn, talk, encourage. What do you got to add to that?
No, I mean, you hit it right on the nose, and everything there we pretty much did. Like every word that's in there, we did it. Yeah, we built networks, relationships. I mean, yeah, we're all still communicating with each other
Mm-hmm.
and built networks. I know Will, I think, has like a roofing company. I communicated with one of my boys with him who needed a roof that's close to his area. Like, man, yeah, you hit it right on the nose right there.
It's a, it's a solid group. Now, what else did you take away from that trip? Is there anything that stands out?
Mhm.
I know you had a great time when you went diving for scallops and snagging for salmon and going on these excursions when we're out on big boats, catching
Mhm.
halibut and king and silvers, salmon out there. But did you take anything away from this trip other than just the actual adventure and journey itself?
Yeah, it pretty much is reaffirms my idea that you're not alone. Nobody suffers alone. Truthfully, people just think nobody knows what I'm going through. That no, there are people that do understand in their own way. They do understand. It might not be exactly what you suffered or nothing like that, but in some way they're suffering just like you. And you know, pretty much just d- you know, but yeah, that's pretty much it. You're not alone out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's always somebody out there, to help. There's some people that are suffering just as much, not as you or more.
Mm-hmm. You know, one thing that I took away from this is that you when you get out there, you can actually just turn everything off, like really
Mhm.
the world around you completely, everything that you just came from, it's like it doesn't even exist anymore because of the reality that you're in right now at that present moment doesn't even seem real because none of us, or the majority of us, had never experienced what that looked like and
Right.
what that felt like and what the surroundings and the sights, all this, again, this tranquility, it really was therapeutic for me to say, man, I can breathe in this fresh air and just kind of drop that pack, drop that ruck, and really take in living in the moment. And that's what I took away from it. And I made sure I got up early. I had my coffee. I went out there just by myself, and I wanted to just sit on that dock and just stare into just a blank stare into those trees and that ocean and the sounds of the current coming in a way, just that living in the moment type element that you can really get with no sirens, no barking dogs, no,
No city pollution.
yeah, yeah,
There's none of that.
yeah, like Ice Cube says, right? It was a good day, but it was actually a good week, right?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, no, yeah, that's a good point. You're bringing like just because I'm pretty sure not everybody gets to advise. Um, what do you mean? Like experience like that peacefulness of just sitting there and not having to hear, any of that noise pollution that you get, and in urban areas and city areas and things like that. It was just quiet, you know.
Like, I didn't even know how to act. Like, half
Mhm.
the time, I'm like, "Is this even real?"
Yeah.
Be I mean, I'm sure people are like, "Oh, it's Alaska. I've been to Alaska." Folks, no, this is the Babe Islands Lodge. This is 30 minutes away from Ketchikan itself on an airplane.
Mhm. Yeah, it's on
On
a remote island.
Yeah, and there's nothing. There is
Yeah.
nothing. There is whoever's on that floating lodge, that there
Yeah.
was, what, maybe 15 of us total? Like, that
Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
is life, and that's it,
Yeah.
and we've got some boats, and if there's a problem, there's not, a fire truck that's gonna come or an ambulance or a police car. It's the Coast Guard
Mhm.
that would have to respond to this, and
Yeah.
who knows where they're at. It's the
Yeah.
freedom that it gave. Didn't that feel so powerful, though, to have that freedom? Like,
Yeah.
literally, you weren't tied to anything except for the trees that we were
Yeah.
tied off to, literally, but I
Yeah.
mean tied to in the physical present moment. Not,
Mhm.
you're not tied to, I got to go pick up the kids at 2. I got to go to the grocery store. I
No.
got to, in the hustle bustle of everyday life that always just consumes you, and it just keeps you going and
Yeah.
going and going. You always have these gears going and grinding, and it's like you're coming, you're going, you don't know up from down anymore. And then a lot
Mhm.
of folks are
Uh-huh.
battling their own issues and their anxieties and their depressions and their life challenges. But it really,
Yeah.
again, I had never felt more at peace.
Yeah,
Ever.
yeah, it broke that life norm, repetition that you do daily. Wake up, go to work, go to sleep, wake up, go to work, and all of a sudden you're just there like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Just sit here,
Hmm.
just relax." Which my wife found funny because anytime we go to like resorts or things like that, I'm always like, she's like, "Oh, let's go to the pool." All right, we'll sit in the pool. I'm like, "All right, what do you want to do now?" She's like, "We've been here like 10 minutes." I'm like, "Okay, so what do you want to do now?" "Let's go to the beach." "Okay, we'll go to the beach." 10, 15 minutes. "All right, what do you want to do now?" She's like, "Just relax." I'm like, "No, I got to do something." But over there is just relaxed, you know, just it was just us sitting there. Someone was like, break open a beer, just drink a beer, and just enjoy the view. Enjoy the beauty of Alaska there.
Yeah, I need to find my way to Alaska somehow, some way. I don't know how, but like, I already made a meme. I took a picture of that Babe Islands Lodge and I said, just drop me off here. I'll be fine.
Yeah, for sure.
Just leave me here. I got
Oh yeah,
we got our float plane, we got our 3 boats, out there, those
man.
ships. And
Just seeing that on the float plane when they did the flyby the first time we were arriving there I was just like, we're just in the middle of the ocean next to some woods. Like, this is where we're living? Like, oh my god, what's going on here? But
yeah,
what an experience that was, though.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's I mean, talk about bucket list items. Dude, I'm
Mhm.
checking boxes left and right. I'm like, "Oh, man." I was like,
Oh,
"Dude,
yeah. Mhm.
dude, when I got home, man, my wrist was going haywire." I'm like, "Check, check, 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 check.
Yeah.
Oh, check, 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 check. Wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah. That was yeah, for
Now
sure.
what?"
For sure. That's definitely bucket list items there. Yeah. I know, like, I told, like, coworkers and stuff, everything we did, they're like, "I gotta do this." I'm like, "Go for it, man." Like,
Mhm.
just go out there, go to Alaska, I even gave them a name to this place, like, "This is a place where we stayed at if you wanna give it a try, man."
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And folks, if you want to register for the 2024 Alaska Adventure Project to sign up to perhaps be selected to be a recipient, go to alaskaadventureproject.org. That's alaskaadventureproject.org. They do get a high volume of emails as they can only afford to take 8 to 10, perhaps 12 veterans every single year to Ketchikan, Alaska, to the Babe Islands Lodge. A trip of a lifetime, a journey, an
Oh, yeah.
adventure that you will never forget, one that you will take with you. As long as you are living on this earth, and you will never forget about, and chances are you're going to talk about it everywhere you go, because again, the life experiences that were had and that were made out there through beautiful memories, again, are sure to last a lifetime. I know I'll be connected to you now for life. And
Oh,
also,
yeah.
another beautiful thing, right? You meet this man, Kenny. Kenny,
Mm,
he spent what, like 25 or 30 years in the army, just an
yep.
absolute, I mean, genuine, sincere man.
Oh,
And
yeah. He is.
he gets home and he dabbles with
Mhm.
some art, right? And he creates this "I got your six" uh
Yep.
type of art here. And he says, "Hey, I want everybody's address. I want to send everybody that we were in Alaska.
Mhm.
I want to send this to you." And the amount of effort that this
Oh,
man put into this, he put it in. I mean, dude, I mean, this is like a shield,
yeah.
guys.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
mine came bulletproof pretty much.
And then he protects it with all this cardboard and all this stuff. And I know this guy was
Yeah.
logistics, and I know he was really damn good at his job, because
Yeah.
I can see it right here. This man put on a display of exactly what
Yeah.
the Alaska Adventure Project is all about. The
Oh, yeah.
friends, the camaraderie, the connections, and everything that was made out there. He took it very, very serious, as we all did.
Mhm.
And you could
Oh,
see that right there is just a brief description
mhm.
of what you'll receive and what you'll get after even the experience is over, as we're all staying connected through, yeah, through text messages and
Mhm.
on social media, and so on and so forth. So I want to give a shout out to Kenny for that, because that was an amazing and very kind gesture that we
Yes.
all are very appreciative of. And you are a very good man, Kenny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. He was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually got to hang out with him a little bit more, him and, Darren, once we left, 'cause, we both, I think we flew into Seattle. We had a very long layover there, and, we kinda chilled and relaxed, and I talked to him a lot more, and yeah, I mean, I know they're both in, like, South Carolina, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
but I know I was mentioning earlier, before we started, I was like, "Man, I wish he was, like, a lot closer," we could hang out with him and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Him and, his service dog, Letty.
Yeah, all of us are literally from sea to shining sea and everywhere in between. I mean, you know
Oh,
what I
yeah.
mean? So, from Southern California to the Gulf Coast to
Mhm.
South Beach.
Yep.
So before
Mhm.
we end this awesome show,
Mhm.
and again, man, thanks for coming on to kind of share a little bit about what you experienced out there in Alaska.
Yeah, thank you
And
for having me.
I mean, it was again, you can't really explain the journey and that adventure unless you do it. And again, I'm encouraging other veterans out there to go sign up with the Alaska Adventure Project to be considered to be a recipient for the 2024 program. And it is right there. Once again, experience what myself and many others have got to experience over the last 9 or 10 years that they've been doing this as a extremely honorable and genuine veteran nonprofit. Folks, go to alaskaadventureproject.org, alaskaadventureproject.org. Billy Bolton, the founder, has some incredible vision on how he began this, where he currently is right now in the state of the nonprofit and where he's going. So if you also want to donate to help send veterans out on this once in a lifetime opportunity, you can also donate to the alaskaadventureproject.org. And I know he's got a great team behind him with Darren Isham and Will Piquel and many others that help facilitate this journey and adventure every single year for veterans. And I know for that, I'm very thankful for the team that they have built. But I want to get into helping you out with your comic books that you it's a great hobby. What Nacho does is he sells comic books and he sells action figures, and he's been doing it since he was a little kid. It's something that he's always had, a great passion for. And if you guys are interested in learning more about what he does with his comic books and his action figures, you can go connect with him on Instagram at nachos_heist. Why don't you give me an elevator pitch on exactly what it is that you do with the comic books and the action figures that you actually have a business for?
Okay, yeah. So, yes, when I was younger, I pretty much I amassed a huge collection of comic books, and then as the whole comic thing started becoming a lot more popular with like movies and all that, people have seen it also as a great investment. And as I started looking at my books, I started noticing I was like, man, I got some heavy hitters here and they're all in great condition. I just start selling and just make some additional income on the side. And so I started researching a lot. I opened up my own LLC. Got some distributors that send me books, and just pretty much just want to give people all these collectibles and comics that that I loved and grew up with to them, and not also to break their bank either. Make a little money, but at the same time give them everything at a really reasonable price.
Do you sell quite a bit of this?
Recently it's kind of slowed down. The market's kind of like shifted a little, but pretty much like a few months before Alaska, yeah, I was selling like some big ones. My largest sale was the first appearance of Spider-Man Amazing Fantasy 15. It was signed by Stan Lee and it was graded and encapsulated at a 3.5, and I sold that one for like 29,000. Yeah.
USD?
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, yeah.
A comic book.
Yeah, a comic
You
book.
sold a comic book for 20. Now you've got my attention.
Yeah.
I'm thinking these were $10 comic books. No?
I mean, I have those too, but yeah, I've sold some heavy hitters like that one. I think before that it was like the first X-Men comic book. It was graded at 1.5, but it was signed by Stan Lee, and I sold it for like 6,900, something around there. And yeah, these are all that I just been collecting that from ages. And all of a sudden I'm just like, it's just here stored. Like, why don't I just share the wealth with everybody and make a little money too?
Holy cow, man. That is incredible. Man, that sounds like a lot of fun, actually. I did the same thing when I was a kid. I was a big baseball card collector. I even collected the Beckett's, the magazines that would tell you how much they were worth, back before Google, right? You had to look up something in a magazine. And, I was always so soft with my cards because that meant those were everything to me, and I think that really helped instill, the respect of things of value that you can
Yep.
actually hold, see, feel, touch for yourself and take care of, and make sure you're not dinging up any corners. You want a completely
Yeah.
mint condition,
Oh yeah.
everything in the covered sleeves and everything like
Yep.
that. The Beckett's, as well. I'd get the magazine holders just to make sure that nothing would be creased. And I didn't even want to turn the pages on my Beckett because I didn't
Yeah.
want any fingerprints in it.
Stress the
I
spine.
mean, yeah, it's probably the same way with
Same way.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't open all the way. You kind of just like fold it, like kind of like little bend just to look. Okay, yeah, looks good. Put it away.
I
You're
look
done.
back at I look back at my childhood all the time, and it's like we had so many things of value that again that you can hold on to,
Yep.
and the hobbies that were behind it, and
Mhm.
the life events and the memories that were forged with childhood friends and
Mhm.
siblings, and that you could sit down and trade baseball cards for days
Oh
on
yeah.
sleepovers or comic books or whatever it
Yep.
was. I look at kids today, like they hold a phone like we all do now, of course,
Yep.
but we still live the life of holding things like check
Yep.
out this Elway rookie, or check out
Yeah.
this.
I want something physical.
Yeah, look at this 89 Upper Deck King Griffey Jr. rookie, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or this 87 Bonds rookie, or you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
and now it's like, oh, hey, look at this picture. Or,
Yeah.
everything is through a phone, the technology.
Mhm.
Sometimes I
Yeah.
wish it'd just be a simpler life.
Yeah. They kind of do that with the comic books. They have like digital comic books that you can read the same comic book on your phone. But I'm like, no, I need that. I want that physical one. The
Right.
digital one's nice if you just want to read it and you don't want to be like folding like your book. You have it for collectibles, but nah, I prefer that physical copy.
Hmm. And and there's a unique smell too that comes
Yep.
along with these. You open up a fresh pack of baseball cards. You smell that print. And it just
Yeah.
it brings back that childhood experience.
Uh,
And I'll still go look at some of my Beckett's that I've had for 30
mhm.
years plus.
Yeah.
That I still have not put fingerprints on, and if I ever look at them, I put on my
No, the gloves. Yep.
dress blue gloves.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
and and
those
and then
white
I'll
cotton
start
gloves.
looking at it, you know what I mean? Like, "Hey, I'm putting fingerprints on this," and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
and you can just smell
Yeah.
the print
I
of the.
thought I was the only one.
Oh, yeah, no, you're
'Cause
not. No,
yeah, because 'cause I'll
it's
get them old school books, and then it's just open and just wow. It's
mhm.
just like you said, it's that whole reminder of your childhood.
Yeah, it's awesome, man, I miss it.
Yeah.
I
Oh, yeah.
definitely miss it.
Yeah.
I think I'm going through this 46-year-old
Midlife
mid
crisis.
midlife. I wouldn't call it a crisis, but remembrance, and
Oh,
and just
yeah.
you get to a point in your life. I got four beautiful
Mhm.
kids, been married 25 years, and and you start to look back, and you look
Mhm.
at your life, and what you've done and what you've accomplished and what you've learned, and uh,
Yeah.
where you're going, and what
Mhm.
you're continuing to do to always make yourself better, and to always make those people around you better as well. And
Right.
you know, it's 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 definitely, like what I like to say too, is,
Mhm.
I love my family and my children so much, and the hardest job in the world is being a father that cares.
No, sure.
Being a father that cares, that's a former Marine as well. You got that guard, right? You're a protector. You always want to be
Yeah.
there. Yeah, I gotta protect. I gotta protect. I gotta protect.
Mhm.
But at some point, you gotta let go. You know,
True. Yeah.
it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, man.
Nacho, man,
Mhm.
thank you so much for joining us today. You have made this show great today with your insight, and what you shared with us today. It certainly means the world to me, and I know it'll mean the world to a lot of folks out there who are going to be listening to this, that root for you, and they're big fans of Nacho.
Hey, I hope as long as I help somebody, it's all that matters. But yeah, thank you for having me also, man.
Oh yeah, and like I said, man, this is going to be a lifelong relationship. If you ever need
Oh,
anything from me, you know where to find me.
yeah. For sure, man.
Again, we sincerely appreciate everything you have done, in the military, in the veteran community. Your service, sacrifice, and dedication to our great nation is truly admirable.
No, thank you, man.
Folks, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. It has never been easier to listen to this podcast. We are on Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TikTok, Twitter, which is now X, and LinkedIn. I'm getting all professional now.
Everywhere, man.
With this whole LinkedIn thing, right?
Yeah.
Just search Today with Tally, and you will find it. And you can go ahead and like and follow and subscribe. Tell your neighbors and your colleagues, and we'll all share in this beautiful podcast together. You can also learn more about me and my personal story, and perhaps even get one of my new books. I didn't choose this job. It chose me. All you got to do is go to briantally.com. That's briantally.com. Folks, remember to stay inspired, stay encouraged, stay motivated, and always stay in the fight. Until next time, for the Today with Tally podcast, this is Brian Tally. Good night. Semper Fi, and God bless.